HarperCollins and Harper Audio present All the Little Monsters, How I Learned to Live with Anxiety by David A. Robertson. Performed by David A. Robertson. Foreword performed by Sheila Rogers. The sensitive issues discussed in this book, including suicidal ideation, may be triggering to some readers. You can't go back and make a new start, but you can start right now and make a brand new ending. James R. Sherman, Rejection. Anxiety is something that is part of me, but it's not who I am. Emma Stone.
Forward. David Alexander Robertson first entered my life in 2015 on a CBC radio program I hosted and co-produced about writing in Canada. We had a series highlighting authors with exceptional skills and enough output to be able to reflect on a body of writing, essentially an acknowledgement of lifetime achievement. Usually the writers I spoke with for this series were in their 70s at the very least. David wasn't even 40, but he had written more than a dozen graphic novels and had just published his first novel, if you will, The Evolution of Alice. In our conversation, David told me he first knew he wanted to be a writer when he was in grade 3. That was when he wrote his first book, which he still has in his possession. About 100 pages into All the Little Monsters, he reveals the charming title, so I won't name it here. From that early start, David has grown into a wonderful storyteller. Both his output and his talent are prolific. David uses his prodigious gifts to create understanding, to share the truth of the history and contemporary reality of Canada, and, of course, to tell a powerful story, all culminating in creating community. Outside of the radio studio, David and I connected on a number of levels. We both have ancestral roots in Norway House, Manitoba. We both love driving around Winnipeg with a curated soundtrack. We both love dad jokes. And we both live with challenges to our mental health. Throughout my 4-decade career at CBC Radio, I was sometimes known as Merry Sunshine. I sounded cheerful. I radiated cheerfulness. I had a laugh once described by the journalist Marcia Kay as rich and hearty and sweet, but with a touch of sin, like a plum pudding in a bubbling brandy sauce. She added, "Of course not everyone likes plum pudding." The comedian Mary Walsh, dressed as Super Shiro Marg Delahunty Princess Warrior, followed by a camera crew, once burst into my live on-air studio to smite me with her sword and say, "Sheila Rogers, you're so sweet, you make my teeth ache." Much as I loved and still love Mary Walsh, I had just found out a friend had died, and I didn't have the capacity to play along. I replied, "Go to hell, bitch." It may have been the most real I had ever been on air up to that point, and it lasted 2 seconds. I knew I wasn't sweet. I wasn't permanently cheerful, and I wasn't plum pudding. The relentless Merry Sunshine was a false front, a facade, an overcompensation for something I couldn't express or understand until 2003. That was the year I was diagnosed with clinical depression after a mental, what they called at the time, a nervous breakdown. Breakdown sounds like it could mean a kind of dance or something that happens to toys or cars. I searched for a definition, and a doctor told me it's a non-medical term used describing a time-limited event that presents primarily with debilitating depression, anxiety, or paranoia. What that meant in my case was losing interest in everyone I loved and everything I cared about. What had seemed so important for so many years just didn't matter, didn't even register. I lost the ability to function day to day and became completely oblivious to personal hygiene. Off the conveyor belt of work, I felt hopeless.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?